We're into the second, the first relaunch, the second run of this series, Secret Avengers, this time by Nick Spencer, Luke Ross, and this time we're taking a more S.H.I.E.L.D.-centric, secret agent type view of the Avengers. So here's Secret Avengers #1, Volume 2. Why not? Let's do it. Hey everybody, this is Perch. I'm looking at Secret Avengers. This is Volume 2, #1, and I think we're well into the period where I'm exhausted by all these Avengers relaunches. This has become more of an endurance test at this point, but basically, so a little bit of context here. We had the first Secret Avengers, and that was Save the World Without Knowing. It was really built on science fiction. I think you had Warren Ellis, you had Ed Brubaker, and of course you had Rick Remender doing these kind of bigger than life, very sci-fi type adventures with the Avengers. And you had kind of really off-ball pairing. You had Nova, you had Moon Knight, you had spies like Black Widow and Valkyrie, you had War Machine, you had Captain America, you had Captain Britain join the team, and the Beast. You had all over the place things. So when it came time to relaunch the Secret Avengers, part of what was going on is that ABC, a Marvel Cinematic Universe, was really pushing S.H.I.E.L.D. as a series. So you had this new show on ABC, and you had Phil Coulson as the guy from his appearances in the Marvel movies. We're going to cross him over. And you also had Nick Fury, who was Sam Jackson. So right before this series came out, you had Marvel, in kind of the weirdest way possible, through Original Sin, that event, retcon a new Nick Fury. So it was Marcus, who was, a Samuel Jackson but younger looking guy, and we basically did some damage to his eye. We got him to wear a patch, and we brought him into S.H.I.E.L.D. as a field agent or maybe a general. It kind of depended on who was writing the comic at the time. And we got our Ultimate Universe, or Sam Jackson Nick Fury, in the Marvel Universe, whereas we took the old Nick Fury, let's call him the white guy who looks older, and we basically made him a weird watcher on the moon. Because why not? So that's what we're dealing with here. So as we lead into the issue, it's a cold open, and we've got Hawkeye. He's bleeding out. He's just been shot. He's awakened by the word reverie, and he's taken away by some people speaking, some kind of funky language, and he's taken down into some weird kind of temple with a crazy Kultuthu idol kind of looking thing. I know I pronounced that wrong. Thank you, by the way, people who mentioned that in the comments. You're aces. Anyway, Hawkeye is tied up, and they've left his sunglasses on for some reason, and they want some information out of him. They're like, "What are you doing here? Why are you, tell the truth?" This is a kind of Russian agency going on. We got a guy with strange hieroglyphics going on in his head, and they're trying to get information out of him. So they try once with a psychic, and we get nothing. So then we bring a little spider octopus looking thing and throw it in his mouth, and he's like leaking kind of weird goo, and he still doesn't know. So the thing that they're trying to tell us right here is Hawkeye is in a place he doesn't know how he got here. He doesn't know why he's here. He doesn't know what mission he's on. And suddenly it's interrupted by Black Widow to save him. And this takes us to a little flashback 10 hours ago. So we get a very MCU-looking Phil Coulson, and he's got cookies, and he is, coconut pineapple cookies to be exact. And they're basically doing a briefing here where they're trying to get him in on a little S.H.I.E.L.D. Black Ops kind of mission, hoping they join us. And Hawkeye and Black Widow are not interested. And he's saying, "We want you to come do the secret mission, but what we're going to do is we're going to do memory implants, basically, to make sure that you can do this work, but you're not going to remember it later." And they're like, "No, this isn't what we do." And but Phil Coulson wants to make a little bit of an additional offer, and this is Maria Hill kind of calling the shots, or Daisy Johnson, I think, at this point. At this point, S.H.I.E.L.D. got very confusing. whether it was Daisy Johnson or Maria Hill or, like I said, Nick Fury, Phil Coulson, who's running the show. Captain Steve Rogers is off doing his own thing with Avengers World. So it's like nobody really, this whole little SHIELD agency seems like a Black Ops, FBI, CIA type group that really doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but that's fine. So they have a little redacted scene, and Phil Coulson tells them something, and they're in. Hawkeye and Black Widow suddenly change their mind, and they're ready to go. And they're saying, let's get some memory implants. And, they're like, we already actually drafted you because we gave you some nano implants. And so you're already there and you're off and ready to go. So they're off. So on the helicarrier, Maria Hill is telling them, hey, you're ready to go. We're going to introduce you to the new Nick Fury. Why not? He's got Captain America's uniform that he's running around with at the time. Again, why not? And they're going off to do this little Black Ops mission that involves some, dangerous character, master of the dark arts. He's got some dark force dimension energies, and we need to get in there and we need to do something. Now, at this point, just pausing for a second, it's very much the same kind of setup of the mysterious undercover threat that we're going to need to use stealth and subtlety on in order to save the day that the original Secret Avengers had. The difference here is that rather than kind of have the action be bigger than life, it's very much a SHIELD Black Ops. The majority of this comic is spent with SHIELD kind of talking. And I'm all for a lot of dialogue, but we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pages of a lot of kind of, jargon back and forth of like, we want you to do something secret. No, we don't want to do that, but we're going to put a memory implant. No, we don't like to do that. Well, how about if we say yes, please? Like, oh, maybe we'll do that. Okay, well, here's how it's going to work. There's a lot of kind of minutia here of how, in theory, the CIA must operate. So Hawkeye and Nick Fury are running in here. We get some nice kind of throwbacks to Sebastian Druid from the Secret Warriors comic. He's working for SHIELD now too, because why not? And they are basically going to infiltrate this stuff. We see that Hawkeye gets shot, and that's bad news. And Nick Fury kind of goes after the other guy. Black Widow saves him, but Nick Fury, meanwhile, has broken into the leader's little office and kind of shoots him dead right in the head. So, this is clearly not Avengers behavior. And they do rescue Hawkeye. They get him out of there. Got the job done, controlled environment, and now basically as they're talking back and forth, we learn that reality may not be as we see. And so we see an argument take place between Hawkeye and Nick Fury, where Hawkeye's saying, you don't need to kill him. You can basically just, kidnap him. And Nick Fury basically shoots him, uses the memory implants to make him forget some of this stuff. So, all right. Secret Avengers would go on for, several issues here. And we would eventually get War Machine dressed up like the U.S. agent. We'd get Mockingbird in the team as well. And it's all kind of the same token. We're after AIM. Metallo is there. And it's very much this kind of sci-fi ops type stuff. They're doing sci-fi things. MODOK comes onto the team at some point as a kind of a dark agent. Bruce Banner, the Hulk, joins. Taskmaster joins the team, and it's a team that doesn't trust each other. They're going after AIM. They're fighting Taskmaster, Gravitron, Metallo, Superia, and Jude the Anthropic Man. And this is all about AIM's kind of rise to power, which would conflict, by the way, simultaneously with what was going on in Avengers World, where Sunspot bought AIM. But you're not supposed to really think about that too much. And we get, we just get kind of some vague sci-fi kind of double crossing. Yelena Belova, the other Black Widow, kind of comes in and lots of spying. This issue had a fairly brief run. I think it ended with, as I recall, I think it ended with issue 15 or so. I think that's about where it wrapped up. And then it would, of course, get relaunched again. But if you like comics that had kind of this kind of Black Ops CIA type feel to it, this is what you got. It's very much a secret agent kind of book. It's a lot of memory implants and people remembering things they don't remember, and a lot a lot of kind of pulling, we're going to show you one thing and then we're going to show you the thing you actually thought you saw isn't what you thought you actually got. And it's a lot of that kind of stuff. It does do some interesting things with the Hulk. It definitely really leans into the memory plants heavily. Treats Hawkeye as kind of a dope throughout the whole thing, but everybody's doing that at the time. And that's what you got. Secret Agent book, very much tied to kind of a cross between what S.H.I.E.L.D. was doing at the time and also just this idea that, government agencies are kind of dodgy and you can't trust them and, why not? This title overall was not terribly successful. I think, like I said, 16 issues is, I guess, where it went to. And, it kind of played around with the darker side of the Marvel Universe, but it never really achieved the same success that the original Secret Avengers book did. And it basically led into an Alice Cott version of Secret Avengers, which basically relaunched immediately afterward. And that tipped into more of the absurd, where they did a Maria Hill MODOK relationship or romance, sort of, kind of, not really. We brought in Spider-Woman and some bathhouses. In general, the comic continued to kind of tip into crazier and crazier high concept sci-fi. So it either worked for you or it didn't. This was not kind of the biggest selling highlight show of the Avengers, but it's there. What about you? Did you like this comic? Were you into the second and third relaunch of the Avengers? Don't worry, we'll get to that third volume in a minute. But did you like it? Did you get a lot out of it? What do you think? Leave me your comments below. Like, subscribe, introduce to a friend if you don't mind. Follow me on Twitter or Facebook at Comic Perch, and thanks for listening.